Hello, and today we're here to talk about practical problem solving, also known as PPS. And there's no better way to do that than to take you through an example case study that we use to train our people. So here we've got the example case study. You want to start with your title, your practical problem solving title. What is the thing you're trying to fix? What is the thing you're trying to improve or make better? So the first thing we want to do, PPS is an 8-step process. I'm going to take you through all 8 steps so you know exactly what to do and why you're doing it at each stage. So once we've got our title, so we know what problem we're trying to fix, we're then going to move on to step 1, or box 1, which is called clarifying the problem. Now what we're really trying to do here, is establish and understand the standard. And how are we measuring it? What is our standard? What's the current condition? What's the current levels of performance? And what's the gap to that performance, so we know how far we are away from the standard that we've established. The final thing we want to cover in box 1 is the impact, and that's usually split into 3 other areas: the impact on our customers, our company, and our colleagues. So let's just move to the example. What we've got here is an example of lost mileage within a bus organisation. You can see the metric that we're using and the target line there. That's their standard. And it should be no more than 0.25% lost mileage. That's the standard. The current condition, it's showing us that actually it's 0.35. It's actually higher than it needs to be. So the gap to the target or to our standard is 0.1%. Now that doesn't sound a lot, but let's have a look at the impact on the business. The impact, if it's not solved, it could cost the organisation around £500,000 a year. It delays orders for new fleets and new buses because they just haven't got the money through the fines. They're leaking £500,000 a year. It's abnormality. It means that buses are redirected and people don't get on them and don't get where they're going in time, which in turn means high customer dissatisfaction and reputational impact. And the last thing we're going to check is the strategic alignment. Is solving this problem important to the business? Yes, it is, because it aligns with this organisation's better bus strategy. If we fix it, we get better. So once we've done step 1, clarify the problem, we move on to step 2, breaking down the problem. And this is a beautiful thing that PPS does for us. Following step 2 all the way through allows us to automatically scope the project to a process level. Massive advantage when you're using this process. So we're going to break down the problem. First, we can see that Depot 2 is consistently over target. So we focus in further on Depot 2. Then we understand and we can see that the number 1 breakdown reason is coolant temperature lights coming on for breakdowns and services. So our buses constantly, coolant temperature lights is our priority problem. But we can break that down even further to a process level. And the Depot 2 bus inspection records, so by checking the records, we can see that 37% of inspection failures were for coolant strength. 95 occurrences. 95. Remember that. Now that is what's called our prioritised problem. That's step 1 of breaking down the problem. The next stage is to understand the point of occurrence. Where is it happening in the process? Go see, look. Go to Gemba, have a look, and work out where it's happening. In this example, it was identified and found at the replenishment control process. That's where the top-up process, where they top up the coolant. So when you get to the end of box 2, breaking down the problem, what you've got is a prioritised problem at the point of occurrence. The what and the where. The what and the where. Remember that. Then we're going to hold that for now, and that statement that we've wrote, the prioritised problem at the point of occurrence, we're going to transfer that all the way across into the head of our fishbone diagram when we do the root cause analysis. We'll hold that for now because we need to do target setting first, box 3. We need to set a target. Moving on to box 3 then, target setting. We all know the SMART analogy. Setting targets using the SMART method, but in PPS it's slightly more defined than most SMART target setting processes. And this is how we do it. It's a really good way, a really good tip to actually write SMART out so you can cover each one. So SMART, specific, what are we trying to do? We're going to eliminate coolant dilution issues at Depot 2. That's it. That's what we're trying to do. We've broke down the problem and scoped it all the way down to a process level, remember. That's what we're going to do. Next, measurable. Remember earlier that we said 95 issues, 95 occurrences. We want to get that down from 95 to 0. Eliminate it completely. So remember, 95 to 0. None left. Then A, achievable. Now what we're really asking here, and this is the bit that gets missed, we are asking is not is it achievable, we are asking is it achievable with the current resources that we have, or do we need to bring people in to help us? And in this example, we've identified that skilled engineers and the current resources we have is enough to realign this key performance indicator, this number of coolant dilution issues. We don't need any more help. The team have got together, they've decided we can fix this ourselves. We can bring the people in as and when we need them. We don't need a specialised team to break through and fix this. That's a different approach. This is a prioritised problem, point of occurrence at process level. R, relevant. Is it relevant? And what that means is, does it align to the business strategy? Is it important to fix this problem? And as we saw earlier in box 1, solving this problem helps to improve and reduce lost mileage, which is a main output KPI, and it aligns with the better bus strategy. Yes, it is relevant. It is a problem we want to fix. And finally, time bound. How long? Roughly how long do we know? And this is an estimate at this stage. This is important. It's an estimate. Think about it. Think logically. Get many viewpoints from the team and your stakeholders. Have a think. And in this example, we want to complete it within 4 months. That's what they agreed on. Let's try and fix this. Get these coolant dilution issues from 95 to 0 within 4 months. And now we're ready to move to step 4, root cause analysis. Moving on to step 4, everybody. We're going to look at root cause analysis. Now remember, the bottom of box 2, break down the problem. We had a prioritised problem at the point of occurrence. We've transferred that into the head of our cause and effect or fishbone diagram. We're going to use cause and effect first in this simple example. Now remember, common mistake, you are writing the prioritised problem at the point of occurrence in that fishbone. You are not writing any problem statements or information from box 1 when you clarified the problem. Subtle but very important distinction. Then you're going to work with your team and you're going to identify, brainstorm out, what do we think could be a direct cause? What's directly causing this prioritised problem? Get everything out, get it all down on paper, everything, no matter how silly it may seem, because we might need to come back to it in the future. Okay? Then when you've done that, work with the team to identify which they think is the most likely or most probable direct causes to this problem. And in this example, you'll see there's 3. And that was skills and training, quality of the coolant, and incorrect ratios. So actually putting the wrong amount in. There were many ideas put down, but that was the 3 that the team, people who do the work on a day-to-day basis, thought might be causing it. So then what we need to do, and this often gets missed, is we need to evaluate the direct causes. We need to know, is that true? We need to check them. We need to confirm that condition. Often gets missed. Under the pressure of wanting to solve the problem quickly, we rush on. But please don't do that, because more often than not, you'll find yourself going back and have to do it again. So there were 3. What you want to do is you look at your potential cause. What is the standard? How are you going to check it? What method are you going to use to actually check and confirm? You look at your result, and then you make a decision. And in this example, you can clearly see there is 1 incorrect ratio, incorrect coolant ratio, which is a direct cause that has been proven, it's been confirmed with the facts. We know that's causing it. So then we take only that one, number 3, into our 5 why analysis. A process of just asking why until we eventually get down to the root cause. Now that root cause usually is related to either ineffective standards, no standards, or no responsibility set. They're the most common in real life. That's what you come across more often than not. So in this example, you can see actually it branches off into 2 root causes. And both of those are related to having no standards. Now, here's a tip. Sometimes, if it's obvious and well known and common knowledge that you don't have a standard, you don't need to drill into your 5 why analysis. You've got your direct causes. Just get a standard in place, train it in, and confirm it. See if it fixes your problem. Don't need to go all the way through. But at this stage, the team also asked, do we need to put containment action in place to stop the problem getting worse? So put a sticking plaster over it for now to buy enough time to fix the problem permanently. And that was agreed. And at that stage, at the end of root cause analysis, once they understood what the direct and root causes were, it was time to put containment in place. And that allows us to then move on to box 5, developing countermeasures. So, in box 5, we're developing countermeasures. What are we really doing? Well, what we're doing is we are working with the team to identify what things we need to do that could fix the root causes. That's what we could do. You write them down with the team and you identify a suitable judgment criteria. And that criteria could be ease of implementation, quality, cost, impact on safety. Yeah, but just agree with your team what you think those countermeasure judgment criteria should be. And then work through your criteria, make a judgment, and then identify and justify why you've chosen the countermeasures that you wish to implement. Okay, that's important. And in this example, there are 4 countermeasures that were chosen that you can see detailed there. That allows us to move on to box 6, developing the plan and seeing it through. Keep it simple. This bit, keep it simple. This is all about doing. Bring the people in that you need to help you when you need to help. When you need the help, really. Bring the people in to help you when you need the help. Keep the plan milestone driven. Milestone driven. Keep it fairly high level at this stage. Yeah. If you need a detailed plan behind that, or you need to run a pilot to make sure first, do it safely and structured in a pilot, then you can do that. But keep it high level, keep it visual. See that plan through. And try and implement those countermeasures one at a time so you can see and understand the cause and effect relationship, so you can learn what is truly fixing the root cause. Once we've done that, it takes us on to box 7, our results. What we want to do now is make sure we remind ourselves what we were trying to do within 4 months. By December, reduce coolant ratio issues from 95 to 0. We've got a metric that shows us exactly what's happened and what we've done. So what we've got here is the drop from 95 down to 0, well within the 4 months. And we've implemented each countermeasure in turn so we can understand the impact. And what we've put on the metric is important information relevant to the actual implementation of the plan. And what you can see at the end, really important, until it dropped to 0 and it was sustained, then we remove the containment action, and only then. So to summarise, we do one-by-one implementation of those countermeasures to understand the effect, the cause and effect relationship. The initial Band-Aid or containment action supported the reduction in the events. So the number of times things were going wrong, the number of coolant ratio issues. That fleet check actually helped us. We didn't remove that Band-Aid, that containment action, until we'd confirmed that actually the results were okay, they were fine. Then we take the sticking plaster off. Until then, we don't. An elimination of issues contribute to lost mileage at Depot 2. That we know, if we can work it all the way back through, we know that that will help reduce lost mileage overall. We focus on a single problem, single prioritised problem at the point of occurrence. And that leads us into the final stage, box 8, standardisation and lessons learned. We want to make sure that we've standardised all the improvements that have fixed this problem. Otherwise, they will just slip back. We've standardised them, we've made them part of daily management and the daily work. And then we want to do 2 other things. First one is we want to share the learning, and that's called Yokoten. But what that really means is share and leverage the learning. And this is where practical problem solving amplifies the savings and amplifies the benefits. Solving this problem will be common across many depots for this organisation. Share this learning with the remaining depots. Have you got this same problem? Oh yeah, we have. Well, come and have a look at what we've done. Don't go through the process that we've done and roll with the punches we've had to take. Put this in place and get the benefits yourself. So you start to amplify that up across the whole organisation, share it, and that's when you really start to impact your lost mileage that we talked about in box 1 when we clarified the problem. And that can be a really important point to get across to your leadership team. They'll get nervous because the lost mileage KPI is the output metric that they constantly see. And they might say, well, just fixing these coolant ratio issues won't impact that too much at Depot 2. And they're correct. But if you amplify and share and leverage that learning across all the depots, you will significantly impact that lost mileage KPI. And the last part is what's called self-reflection, Hansei. And this looks at 2 things. The next time I do this, can I improve the way I use the practical problem solving process? 1. And point 2, can I be a better leader, a better facilitator? How did I behave during this process, especially when it got tense, especially if we had some constructive conflict or some meeting of minds. If there was healthy tension in the process that started to turn negative, how did I deal with it? How did I bring it back round? Can I do this better next time? And the reason why we want to do that is practical problem solving is not a once and done, thank God that's over process. It's something we do again and again and again.